All right, guys, on the bench, we have a Johnson Viking 352D. These came in different versions, 352D, I believe an A as well, and they are different on the inside. So this is a customer's radio. This is Ralph in Pennsylvania. And he sent it to me with this letter. I like getting letters. And it says here, Roland, I'm sending you my Johnson CB radio for repair. I had it operationally checked, and the person that did it said it was receiving and transmitting, but weak. The only other thing to note is that the microphone jack on the back is loose. I would like the radio placed in good operating condition. It has not been used in many years, and I am the original owner. I like getting little handwritten letters like that. Kind of makes things a little bit more personable. But yeah, we can. I'll get that done. No problem. So I already had this thing on, and it does receive, and the letter is right. Whoever looked at it before is correct. I sent an S9 signal through it, and it was just barely breaking 3. An S3. So there's that. And then transmit, it is a little low. It was like a 3.8 watts carrier, and then it was swinging to like 10 watts peak PEP. A little low, yeah. Probably just needs a good alignment. But also, with its age, we're going to be doing a capacitor kit. So this is one from, I've spoke about Klondike Mike before, and his capacitor kits are great. It has all brand name, top tier capacitors. So if you have a customer that doesn't mind having a mixed bag of capacitors, which, having a mixed bag of capacitors isn't a big deal. They did it from the factory anyway. But some people, some customers of mine anyway, do want to see one brand of capacitor, in their radios. And that's fine too. Not an issue, but there's nothing wrong with these kits. As long as you're getting them from Klondike Mike, you can be rest assured that you're getting grade A caps. So that's what we're going to be putting in here. So it's a 23 channel. Let me move this over. It is a 23 channel sideband radio. You do have the upper AM and then lower sidebands. One thing you can kind of see in the front that there's no place to put a mic, or even on the sides. There's nothing on the sides. So this particular radio, you have this plug, kind of unique. I know some of the Johnsons had this style plug, but it's like a quarter twist plug. Not super rare, but definitely not something you see on a lot of the radios. And it is in the back. And I already had this. So this jack was loose. But you can see it's kind of like a weird style quarter turn mic jack. But it was loose. I just put one screw on the top there because this normally takes plastic or nylon screws. That's what was originally in there. So I just put that in temporarily to keep this from moving around. But I will be putting in some nylon screws back in. But yeah, so it's just a quarter turn plug, and then that's it. It locks. Like I said, just like a quarter turn locking mechanism there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I can actually plug this, put this back on the watt meter and confirm the power. I don't know if I like the microphone jack in the back. I mean, it makes the front look nice, you know, but I don't know, for convenience wise, you know, depending on how you mount this thing, having a microphone jack in the back may not be the best situation for this radio. But let me get this plugged back in, and just to confirm its power output, which last time I checked it, it was 3.8 carrier. And then I think I'm pretty sure it was like right around 10 watts peak envelope power. But let's try it again. Yeah, actually, you can see if she's on frequency too. Put the frequency counter on. And what are we on? Channel, let's do 19. All right, 19 AM. And yeah, it's right on frequency. Yeah, pretty spot on. But let's see what. Yeah, like 3.5, 3.8. Let's do we yell audio in here. Everybody loves that. Audio. Yeah, right around 10 or so. It's I wouldn't say it's, you know, low. I mean, yeah, legal is 4, but you know, I'm sure it's probably showing its age. It's out of alignment. Caps are old. You know, probably starting to you know, turn into resistors. So yeah, that's the initial check. Actually, let's see what's doing on the upper sideband. Audio. All right, it's hitting like right around 12 watts peak envelope. Lower sideband, what do we got? Audio, same thing, 12, 13. So, I mean, it's a little off for sure. So we'll get this, we'll get it back in good working order. And then, I know he said he just wanted it operationally, you know, working properly. But what I'll end up doing is, you know, with a full service, I physically clean the radio as best I can. You know, I don't do a full restoration. I do them, but, you know, those are going to be, you know, more, it's more time, so more labor. But what I normally do with a full service is I physically clean the radio, along with, you know, doing the recap and alignment and all that other stuff. But then what I also do is I kind of make sure, like, you can see this thing here is coming unglued. So what I do is I kind of just go through the radio and I do some of the cosmetic stuff as well. Yeah, like here you can see the chrome's kind of peeling. There's not really much you can do with that. You know, other than, you know, sending this thing out for, you know, to get re-chromed, which is, you know, I don't know, you'd have to really, really like the radio to do something like that. But what I can do is, after cleaning this, I can go back and touch up some of the lettering, you know, with some silver. I have some silver paint that I use on radios like this with the raised lettering, and it's actually pretty easy to do. Yeah, I'll go back, touch up the red, and then I'll probably touch this up here. I have like a chrome simulating paint that'll kind of just take your eye off of that a little bit. So yeah, when you get a full service, something I do. Now the case is going to stay. I'll just clean it up, and you know, that's about it for the radio. Let me tell you, this thing has got some weight to it, and half of it is the case itself. For those who who have, Johnson radios, or, in particular one of these, half the weight is this case. It's pretty impressive, the way Johnson makes their, it's like tank armor, crazy. But I like the way, you really can't see, let me turn the bench light off. But that turns to red when you're transmitting. The little Viking guy here on the top right corner there. But yeah, it's a good candidate for a restoration. I think it's a cool radio. I like working on the old stuff. Bringing stuff back to life. People don't mind. It's a 23-channel radio, but it's a piece of history. Really, at the end of the day, it's what it is. And I like it when people want to put a little bit of time and money into preserving some of these older radios. It's nice to see that it's actually on frequency too, because some of these crystals are so old. That even adjusting them, you still can't get them into spec. But it's nice to see that this radio is actually spot on. Yeah, and the other thing I'll do too is clean up the mic. Get rid of some of that crusty debris or whatever that, I don't know what that is. But I'll get the mic cleaned up nice. On stuff this old, I tend to avoid using a ultrasonic cleaner. I do have one. I have one for my records, and I have used it in the past with newer stuff. But I find that the older stuff, it can be harsh, even on like the lowest setting with mild, like a mild detergent. It can really damage some of the older plastic. So something like this, I actually wash these by hand. I take them apart, and I'll actually use some like dish soap, which I find works best, and like a terry cloth. Yeah, so that's what I do with these. The newer stuff, I'll just throw right into an ultrasonic cleaner. But I find that, I've had bad luck before with older stuff in an ultrasonic cleaner. Unless I just have like a super heavy duty ultrasonic cleaner, I don't know, but I'm not gonna risk ruining, something like this. I'd rather just do it by hand. And honestly, it comes out the same, and it's about the same amount of time, so it's just a little bit more labor intensive. But yeah, that's about it. So, all right, well, got it pretty much all done. These caps were definitely not easy. So what Johnson did in this particular radio was kind of like what SBE does on their radios. The terminals on a lot of these components, but all of the capacitors, they were bent over, and without you can kind of see, yeah, like that right there. They bend over the terminals on each component and actually solder them together. They kind of bridge them, and it's just a pain in the butt to get the capacitors out when they're done this way. Yeah, you can kind of see throughout the board, they're just bridged. Everything is kind of just bridged over. So it made things a little bit more difficult, but not impossible. But if you have a desoldering gun, you're going to have to kind of use like a combination of desoldering gun with a soldering iron and a little like tool to kind of like straighten out the terminals. And then you kind of have to, once you get the terminals straight, you're going to have to go back with the desoldering tool and, try to suck up the rest of the solder. So it's not impossible, but definitely a little bit more on the challenging side. So if you have one of these at home and you're trying to attempt to do one of these, it is a little bit more difficult, so just be aware. But if you take your time, it's not impossible to do. But quite a few caps in this radio, but got it done, and it's performing better. So I did the complete service to this. It's aligned. And it's better performance out of it on transmit and receive. But some of the other upgrades I did all the lights in the proper color. So when you look at the mode settings, so you have the orange here, or like an amber, that's AM. The red is upper sideband, and the lower sideband is green. So I actually changed out the incandescent clear bulbs with the correct color LED. So that way it kind of helps show the color a little bit better when you're looking through the when the mode switches are changed. So it just kind of helps show the color a little bit better. So you actually have a red, an amber, and then the green. Same with the transmit light. I changed that over to a red LED. So now it actually, it just displays it a little bit better, I think. LED in the meter, and LED behind the channel selector here. So, I think not only will it run a little bit cooler, but I think these bulbs will last a lot longer. So I have, so that's basically it as far as upgrades went. And then, upgrades, whatever you want to call them, just LEDs, I guess. But I got the front cleaned, and as you can see, the indicators here of what the switches do are looking a lot better now that they have some silver paint on it. You can also see here that it looks a lot better now. Not 100% perfect, but at least it'll take your eye off of that, bare plastic spot. So when you're looking on it head on, it actually looks like a pretty decent radio. Mic jack is fixed in the back. Got 2 screws in there. So what I had to do there was one of the nylon screws had broke the head off, so I just had to take a little bit of heat and kind of poked the rest of the nylon screw through, and got that fixed. And mic is clean, looking good. What else can I say? Probably just get it back together, and we'll do an on-air test. And that's about it. So I'll have to just do an on-air test. We'll see what it's doing for power, and we'll see how the sensitivity is. But I mean, just again, this was a difficult radio to recap. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, this was probably like a 7 to do. Again, only because they bend the terminals over. Not that this is like a hard radio, but just dealing with the bent terminals is just a pain in the butt. But other than that, it's pretty much just straightforward, a recap. Under here, if you pop this off, the synthesizer area here, there is a 220 microfarad capacitor under there. I'm not going to take this off now, but it's one of these. What is that? That's a 220, 16 volts. But when you get the caps from Klondike Mic, even the caps I use, I don't put 16s back in. The minimum I use is 25 volt on anything. Not that 16s are bad. I mean, the 10 volts are, those can be pretty sketchy to put back in, and I wouldn't recommend that. But 25 volts capacitors are pretty much the norm now for recapping, and above, obviously. But let me get this back together. Get the knobs back on it. What I have to do too is I'll have to put some beeswax on some of these adjustments here, so that way they don't lose their adjustment when it's being transported back to the owner. I'd hate to have it lose its its alignment, because it will happen. It does happen, so I'll just put some beeswax. I like to put beeswax in some of the looser cores, and yeah, just to keep them in alignment. And yeah, so let me get all this back together, and then we'll do an on-air test and take it from there. All right, she's all back together. Looking a lot better. I like to use the term user quality. You know, it's not going to be collector's or museum quality, but definitely a good looking radio. Yeah, like I say, user quality. And you can see that putting the right color LEDs, well, not the right color, but matching color LEDs in the spots really intensifies, you know, the color. So you have red for upper sideband, amber for AM, and then green for lower sideband. And I think that looks a lot better that way. It's not as washed out as having the clear incandescent behind those lenses. So I'm really happy with the way that came out. As well as it looks washed out in person, I mean on the camera, but in person it looks great. The little Viking guy. And I did the same thing there, and they had transmit LED, so it looks a lot better, in my opinion. You can actually see the difference, whereas before you could just barely tell the red was coming through. And meter looks great, nice and clear. You can actually read the numbers now, and it looks a little washed out on camera as well, but in person, the channel selector here looks great. The red, the 9 turns to red. So yeah, it's looking great. It's working great. So I'm sure the owner is going to be happy with this. You know, recapped, serviced properly. You know, and it's good to go. This actually has a Mitsubishi 1969 final in it, so that's a plus. So yeah, we were able to squeeze out, well, I was able to squeeze out a considerable amount more peak out of the radio. And yeah, so that's about it. So let's see what she's doing for power, and then we'll do a sensitivity test, and then we'll do an on-air test here, see if we can get anybody. And we'll also use the monitor radio here and see how it sounds on another radio. So, all right, let's go to the watt meter here. And we'll key up the mic. You can see it's right around 4 watts dead key. Audio. Almost 20, so about 18. You're looking at the bottom scale. Audio. Yeah, let me put a... So that is great, in my opinion. Yeah, that 1969 final, you know, works really, really well. That's why everybody loves them. But it's right at where it should be on the peak. You know, 1969 finals, they're rated for like 18 watts. You can squeeze more out of them, but you know what? Johnson makes it really, really difficult to even get a 4-watt carrier, you know, in the radio, without doing some, without probably removing some coils from some of these transformers and adjustments, some of these cans. You really can't get more than 4 watts, a 4-watt carrier, you know, without doing some modifications. But anyway, the radio is right where it's supposed to be, and that's where it's staying. But yeah, it's working great. So let me get you guys on the let me get this on the monitor radio here, and we can see exactly how it sounds. And then let me get the signal generator warmed up, and we can do a sensitivity test as well. Stand by. All right, so we got the Tram D80 here. It's a nice looking radio, my monitor radio here. Let's see how this Johnson sounds. Radio test, 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 test. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing out this Viking 352D. Sounding good, sounding really good. Radio test, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounding good, sounding real good actually. For an old Johnson, sounding really good. Yeah, it's not bad, huh? Not a bad sounding radio. Let me turn off this desk, this bench lamp here. Get a better look at it. Cleaned up nice, you know, except for you know, with the light shining here, you really can't tell too much there that the plastic was, you know, that the chrome was stripped off of there, you know, unless you really look. But yeah, even the lettering came out nice. I'm really happy with the way this radio came out. Anyway, let's do a sensitivity test and see how well it's doing for SYNAD. All right, stand by. All right, got a S9 signal going to the radio. You can see it's spot on. This potentiometer here was a little scratchy. I went through all of them and put deoxit on everything, so now it's nice and smooth. Alright. Let's see what she's doing for SYNAD. Let me get this set up. Stand by. Alright, it's hooked up to the signal generator, and we have a reading at 12 dB of SYNAD. We have minus 113 dBm. So that's good. That's AM. So that's really good. Sorry for the tone. That's really good. I'm really happy with the way this radio came out, and I'm sure the owner is going to be too. So that's about it for this radio. It was one of my favorites. This is actually the very first Johnson mobile that I've had on my workbench. So I've had lots of bass units, but this is the very first mobile. So it was pretty cool, very memorable. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching.